The Great Wall of Gorgan, or the Red Wall, which is also called the Red Snake in old texts, is a historical wall that started from the Mazandaran Sea in the Gamishan area and continued to the Glidagh Mountains in the northeast of Kalaleh. Now, almost all of this wall is gone, and only small parts of it are left buried under the soil. After the Great Wall of China, 6,000 kilometers long, the historical Wall of Gorgan is the largest defensive wall in the world. This huge historical wall, which is 200 kilometers long, was registered in the National Register on July 29, 1378. The photo of this wall was first recorded by the American archaeologist Eric Schmidt. American archaeologist Mr. Schmidt, who was photographing the ancient places of Iran with his plane in 1315 and 1316, saw a red wall in the Gorgan region that extends from the Caspian Sea to the Glidagh Mountains. He took photos of this wall, and these photos became a document for the research of Iranian and foreign archaeologists on this wall. Since this wall starts in the south of Dagestan, now in Turkmenistan, and the north of Gamishan and passes near Gorgan and the Gorgan River, it has been called by these names. Later, Muslims, thinking of Dhul-Qarnayn as Alexander the Great, called this building the Great Wall of Alexander and considered it his creation. Also, Muhammad bin Najib Bikran wrote the name of this wall as Aber in Jahannameh, and Arn, a Swedish archaeologist, also mentions this name in the ancient hills of Gorgan Plain. It is also called Red Snake in old texts. This wall, which is made of red mud bricks, dates back to the Sasanian period. An archaeology team composed of Iranian and British researchers have succeeded in determining the date of its construction in the 5th or 6th century AD. The Sassanid kings, who had continuous wars with the Eastern Roman Empire, were also facing the threat of the Hun and other northern tribes from the north. Therefore, the wall could close the penetration of these tribes into Iran between the Caucasus Mountains and the coastline of the Mazandaran Sea. The Sassanid king, during the years 459 to 484 AD, when he was fighting with the White Huns, Heptali, spent some time in the Gorgan region. Has passed. Therefore, probably he or another Sassanid king, before or after him, built this wall to protect the fertile plain of Gorgan against the Huns. Most historians believe that Anoushirvan Sassanid built this wall, but Gardisi and Zayn al-Kharbar attributes the beginning of its construction to Yazderd I and its completion to Anoushirvan. Marquard also mentions the construction of this wall by Yazderd and the building of Dehestan city by Narsi Ashkani and Kameshtep by Ajudak in the cities of Iran. Saeed Nafisi also in the history of civilization of Sassanid Iran, it is reported that it was repaired by Mazi-ar, the ruler of Tabaristan. Chirag Ali Azami Sansari has written about this. Tamish was a city on the western side of a ditch that was dug by the order of Espabad Farkan to stop the Turks from invading his territory. Ibn Faqih wrote in the mention of Tamisha and its Darband in Al-Baldan. The first city of Tabaristan from Gorgan is Tamish, and it is located on the border of Gorgan, and it has a big gate that none of the people of Tabaristan can get out of that place and go to Gorgan, except through this gate, because a wall of brick and lime is stretched from the mountain to the heart of the sea. That wall was built by Khosrow Anoushirvan, 578-531 AD, to prevent the Turks from invading Tabaristan. There are many people in Tamish, and it is also mentioned in Baldani that Balazri said that Tabaristan is 8-cornered. Among them are Khor Sari, Amul, and Aram Kaswat above, and Aram Kaswat below, Merwan, Isfabadan, Nami, and Tamish, and between Nami, Sari, and Tamish, there is a 20 farsang. Many experts believe that the historical Wall of Gorgan was built at the same time as the Chinese Wall, and both of these buildings were built to deal with a group of invaders, called Heptals, who entered from the north. Ibn Esfandiar, the father of history of Mazandaran and the author of Tabaristan history book, and Rabino, the author of Farangi of the Khar era, mentioned in their books the construction of this wall to Farkan Bozar, who was from the Deboygan dynasty of Tabaristan. It is agreed that this wall was built to prevent the raiding of the desert tribes. In Masala Canal Mamlek, Ibn Qurdadaba writes about the capture of this wall by Sul-Chul, the king of the Turks, and Thalabi also writes the name of the wall as Darband Sul, or the Gate of Sul, in his Pride of Persians and Surham. Research on one of the forts or barracks of this defensive wall shows that it was active for at least a century after it was built, and there are signs of the presence of soldiers in it. But after that it was abandoned for some reasons. Among the reasons for the abandonment of these defense facilities could be the need for more soldiers to be present in the battle with the Byzantine Empire, or to resist the Arab attack. The Great Wall of Gorgan starts from Kameshtep Beach, south of Etrak River and north of Turkmen Bandar, but the end is not clear. The mouth of the Gorgan River, the village of Kojalar, the mountains of Glidagh or the peak of the Aliabad Qadal mountain. In 1316, Eric Schmidt, an American pilot who was photographing the ancient places of Iran with his plane, noticed the presence of a red wall in the Gorgan region that goes from the seaside to the mountains before Kemer. His photographs left important documents for later archaeologists. In 1350, Iranian archaeologist Mohammad Yusuf Kiani had estimated the length of the wall to be about 175 kilometers. There are various figures about the length of this wall, from 5 to 180 farsang, which may be due to the destruction of parts of the wall and its being cut. The exact length of this wall is not known. In this case, Najib Bikaran pointed to the wall that continues from Dargs to Sarkis and says, "It is not clear whether it is from the wall itself, or another wall." Until today, the size of the Great Wall of Gorgan has been estimated to be 200 kilometers long, 10 meters wide and 6 to 8 meters high. This wall has 40 castles with areas of 5 to 20 hectares along the route and 3 military towers. There are different opinions about the material of the wall. Balazri writes it from stone and lead, Ibn Faqih from brick and lime, Ibn Qordaba from brick and plaster, Ferdowsi from stone and plaster, Thaylabi from marble, part of it, and Najib Bikran from baked clay. A part of the wall that came out of the ground in Gagja village, north of Kalaleh, is made of big bricks. Investigations by a group of Iranian archaeologists and archaeologists from Edinburgh and Durham universities show that tens of millions of brick molds were used in the construction of this huge wall. They have found evidence of a large number of kilns and workshops for making bricks along the wall and in close proximity to it, which indicates a very large industrial workshop for the construction of this wall. According to estimates, 30,000 soldiers could be stationed along the wall. By sampling and testing the ashes and coals left in the brick kilns, archaeologists show that the wall dates back to the 5th and 6th centuries AD.